Hi there, this is Serena Telly and you're watching CMS TV. Stay colorful.
And what is up, everybody? It is a very special Thursday edition of Chris Akin Presents. After the Monday washout, it was definitely, we didn't want to just leave you guys hang for a week. So myself and that guy over there, Mr. Erik Ferentinos, decided to wake some of you up on the California coast and get you at the lunch time over here on this coast and give you some Chris Akin Presents. So without further ado, welcome, Mr. Erik Ferentinos.
Hey, Chris. So is this thing on? Is this
Hello?
thing on?
Hello? No, if you want to do it like it was before, you got to go. It's a thing on. Yeah, exactly.
Well, man, that makes me so happy. I want to bust into song, man.
All
on
right.
the Chris Akin Presents, the kind of podcast you've been waiting for. Chris Akin Presents. I think I'll watch you. Yeah, buddy.
Look at you reworking the Prince music. Holy smokes!
We're very well rounded here on the Chris Akin Presents.
I guess so. Are you trying to prove your pop sensibilities since we're having Dinzy on?
You got me figured out, Chris.
Reminding people that you do more than just play rock guitar or heavy metal guitar.
I'm a triple threat, man.
That's right. Well, dude, we had a lot to cover on Monday. I guess we'll just kind of cover some of it. You obviously, I want to go backwards, and I know we sort of covered it, but it just was shitty. I want to definitely talk about your trip last weekend, specifically the place that you played, because that was crazy. So let's rewind a week or a weekend and talk about.
All right.
And now that we're there, let's talk about this guy right here and where you were.
Oh, he's handsome. Is he going to be your new co-host when I'm gone next week?
I think he might be.
This is Sky City in New Mexico.
Right.
And you can see how it possibly got the name. I made a joke about the UFO movie Nope.
Right,
But,
right.
I think I said something to the effect of, hey, that might be the UFO from Nope up there behind me, but I don't care because I love New Mexico.
Dude, you know what that looks like? Honestly, that looks like the clouds coming in that horrible Tom Cruise War of the Worlds movie.
Yeah.
It really does.
There's something, though, that's, other earthly going on, right? That it seems to be happening. And it's like that most times that I go through New Mexico. It's definitely a powerful place. The scenery there's intense. The buttes. I learned what those are called. They're buttes, buddy.
They're buttes.
Those flat-topped, mountain ranges that look like somebody just took a samurai sword and shot them all.
Close Encounters places.
Close Encounters, yeah. It made me want to cook up a bunch of mashed potatoes and say, this means something.
I know it does. It means something.
So, anyways, it didn't fail. I got there and the sky was amazing by the time we got in. And this is just me in the parking lot of the Sky City Casino that they put us up in for this gig. The gig, however, was not in this casino. It was actually a good half an hour away.
Well, we'll show that in just a second. But I just want, before we get to that, and it'll lead into where you're going here. Tell me a little. I mean, you've been doing this with Stephen for 20 whatever years, 22 years, I think it is, or 23 or something.
2 years, 7 months, 4 days, 13
hours,
hours,
8 minutes.
7 minutes, and 42 seconds,
And counting.
46 seconds, 50 seconds.
I got to tell you what I'm always fascinated with you guys. You guys, and not just you guys, but all bands. How the hell do you guys go to these south central places of the country in June, July, and August? Not that South Central.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the hot South Central areas of Texas, AZ, New Mexico. These places are hot. And it just seems, maybe I'm stupid, probably am. But if I'm me, I do not want to play outside, nor do I want to attend a show outside when it's 110 degrees. But it seems like all of these festivals or these shows in those areas are always outdoors. Is that accurate?
It is accurate.
Why?
They can't afford air conditioning in some of these places, perhaps. But Chris isn't joking when he said 110. That's about what it was at noon when we were sound checking this Beyond Thunderdome. I guess the place would be called. Oh, who's that? That's our buddy.
We've seen this guy before.
So Pearcy was wearing the Classic Metal Show shirt, and for those of you that aren't aware of the graphic on here, it says "Hail and Kill," "Fuck you, pal," "Hand job." And he wears that around. He's like, yeah. I'm like, let me get a picture of that, man.
I guess you're, how old is Stephen? 67?
67.
67.
The coolest grandpa you ever met.
Hell yeah. But he's 67 years old. He's done it all. He's a bona fide rock star. He can go you see it more than me. He can't go anywhere without being recognized, right?
More or less. Yeah.
Why does he need to kowtow to anybody?
That's right. He doesn't.
He can wear whatever the fuck he wants. And I guarantee when you haven't told me this part, no one said a goddamn word to him about his shirt.
No one came up and was like, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Hand jobs are not allowed in this facility.
I don't like your hand job shirt. No one says anything to him. They leave him alone because
it says hijab. Hijab. We're catering to the Middle East.
That's right. And now here he is where? Junkyard?
There, yeah. Junkyard dog. Well, you know what? Again, I kind of mentioned this last week, but it was probably all distorted and weirded out when my audio and shit. But Pearcy was in such a good mood that day, and he rolled with all this.
Right.
You know? Of course, he wasn't at the 5-hour sound check that resulted in no sound check, and that's just coming back. But as you can see, this is the area of the venue. This was right off to the side. It was like a wasteland, if you will.
Right.
And Pearcy's like, hey, let's do a photo shoot over here. And that is a cool picture, actually.
It is a good shot. I can see that being photo. That could be like the internal of you guys' next record.
Absolutely.
That's a
good. Christy took that. Christy's getting really great at taking photos. Stephen's lady. And she's out with us a lot of the times, and we put her to work, man. Go take some photos, lady.
Earn your keep, ma'am.
Right. Yeah, no, she is a member of the band in a lot of ways. So,
right.
Not in a Yoko way. She's super cool.
That's cool.
And she's a talented lady. Actually helps design some. She's a seamstress for the band.
And she does video and everything else. I see the breakfast time with Stephen Pearcy videos and stuff, and she's doing a lot of stuff.
Yes. She is very motivated and loves Stephen to death and works very hard on his behalf. And that's the kind of lady you need in your life, you know?
Yeah, especially Stephen at this age. He needs handlers, people to get him where he needs to get to and get him back.
You ready to field out today, Stephen? No.
He's not that old.
No, that's what's weird though. When I I think my grandparents passed away at his age. You know what I mean? They did not look like they were ready to go headline a rock show somewhere.
That's same. My grandfather, he passed away about, I think he was like 69, 70. He was in there somewhere. And yeah, he looked 69. He looked like what I envisioned 69 and 70 to look like.
Yeah.
This guy don't look like 69 and 70.
And you know, I mean, Steven's not a Hollywood, let's get my face stretched out. You know, I mean, he's just a totally natural a dude, you know, but he was being very awesome to everybody that day, and we kind of prepped him ahead of time that it was a backyard party scenario. I think I alluded to I had mentioned this show we did in Mexico where we played a bullfighting arena, and they had like wonky like ghetto Christmas light kind of setup going, and all kinds of weird 3-pronged things stuck in two pronged outlets. A lot of that stuff.
Just pull the other one out with a wrench or something and plug it in.
I was like, I'm gonna die in Querétaro, Mexico. And I was like, it's kind of like that bullfighting arena, Steven. So he was already like mentally prepared for that.
Right.
But yeah, 110 degrees heat. Now, remember in Aliens, the Alien Part 2, when the one guy's like, yeah, but it's the dry heat.
Yeah.
Right. And that's true. There's a truth to that.
There is truth to that, yeah. Dude, when I was stationed at Fort Huachuca, which is right 10 miles from the border of Mexico, in Arizona. And I mean, it was hot. It was weird because in the mornings, in the early mornings, like when we had to do PT, it would be like 65 degrees. And we would be in sweats. We'd be in sweats and sweat jackets because we were cold at like 65 degrees. But man, by like noon or whatever, when it was like 115 degrees, it was brutal. But I will say this: I also spent time in Texas, in El Paso, like the El Paso area, whatever fort that was there, and it was maybe 95 there. And I would take the 110 in Arizona over the 95 there because it was just in Florida. I mean, you know this too, dude. Florida, a 90 degree in Florida, brutal compared to 110 in Arizona or New Mexico or wherever. That dry heat, there is something to that. It's not as, I don't know, oppressive or heavy, or I don't know it's easier to breathe, I guess.
When the sun went down, I mean, it was probably still could have been
90?
Less than 80 degrees, right? I wore my leather jacket there. Didn't take it off the whole show, which is crazy insane. Like anywhere else we've played, I'll lucky if I could go 3 songs without having to whip this thing off or not even dare wear it at all, because just walking to the stage, you start sweating and you're like, okay, that ain't gonna work. Right. Somehow it is a dry, unexplainable desert heat doesn't get you as bad. When you are in places like Florida, it rains if it gets to like past 90 to cool it down a bit. But a lot of different weather we have here in our country.
Yeah. What's crazy about Arizona, though, and I remember this distinctly, they used to tell us 2 things. Anytime you drive anywhere, you have to have a jug of water in your trunk. You have to, because if you break down, you will die. You know, and when you drive in Arizona, like we were, like I said, we were way south. To go to even like Tucson, I think was like 90 minutes away, 90, 100 minutes, something like that. And I mean, you would go stretches of 20, 30 miles between rest stops. There was just long stretches with no anything, you know, just open desert, really. And I mean, dude, if you broke down and had to walk 15 miles in 115 degree heat,
right,
you were dead if you didn't have a jug of water. So they told us, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. You're showing what? They told us what?
The other thing they told us, and we tested this one, was never stand still on asphalt because your shoes will melt. And we used to do that all the time. Like, you know, because we had the military boots that are the real thick soles on them, thick rubber soles. We would stand on that asphalt, and then we would after standing on it, we'd flip over the boot and look at it, and it would be like soft. It never turned into a puddle per se, but you would grab your boot after, and it would be soft from the fucking extreme heat.
Throw me a new picture here. Let's
see.
There we go. So please take note of the short bus out there in the distance. This is a gutted out special kids bus.
Right.
Put out. This is where the beloved sound guy / monitor guy,
right,
is housed for the entire day in that thing, which is brutal. I mean, this was like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. This was where it was 110 at a sound check, and they just couldn't get the electrical together for this thing, and it was just stuff kept blowing up. One thing would be on, then turned off, and after 5 hours, we're like, look, we're going to head back. We heard you have some opening bands. If you get it figured out for them, we'll be back, you know?
Right.
And sure enough, they I guess got bands going. We still had weird stuff when we got up. Matt's bass rig blew up, and he had to, before the show even started, and he had to go just direct out of there. Man. But so it was rough. Just when you think it couldn't get more strange, they did pyro. It didn't tell us they were going to do pyro.
Right.
And all of a sudden I was up doing, background vocals. I was at the front of the stage, and all of a sudden it was like the Great White Concert, that sparkle thing was up, and it was hitting the top of the staging thing and just hitting me in the eye. Same with Johnny.
Well, what is that? I mean, that's just a standard aluminum rig, right?
The thing that blows the sparks?
No, the staging here, though.
Yeah, the staging is. I don't think anything could have caught fire there, but it was more that it was ricocheting off of that staging and just blasting us because we were only like 2 feet in front of it.
Right. If you touched that, like just put your hand on it or something, it'd fry your hand, right?
Well, not me, Chris, because I have special powers, so I can endure those kind of things. But a normal human being, they would get fucked up.
And call me crazy. This is not a good picture to show it, but from looking at this little tiny tarp thing that's you can halfway see through on the top, it stopped none of the heat.
Right. No.
So basically, you were literally playing in a sauna.
Ironically, Susan has a similar setup in her car that she bought. It's like got a sunroof on it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, lady, you're killing me. You got to put that thing up. Because the other day it was just cooking, and we were in East County where it gets really cooking.
Right.
And we figured out where the thing was finally, because she's had it open this whole time, just where it's just the glass. And so we found the button that goes, and it basically moves a mesh thing like that. So it's like, oh, I guess that's a little better.
It's a half a degree cooler. This is great.
Thanks. Now I have a grid design in my bald head.
Now it looks like you have bad hair plugs.
Yeah, right. Pretty much.
Very nice.
So, but back to Pearcy, he shows up. It's dark at this time, but he was so cool about it. All you have to do is tell him backyard party, and he loves his memories of backyard parties from San Diego days and stuff. And he goes, people started saying they couldn't hear him or something. He's, oh, here you go. And he just like turns the monitors around towards him. He knew exactly what to do. He's like, here you go. I'm on it. Pushes the monitors towards everybody. The people that were there had a great time. And, I have to thank the venue, Route 66. They're a brewery also. You can look into them. They're in Grants Pass, New Mexico. It's a Route 66 garage and brewery. They also have interesting like relic car parts there. I think they sell out of that place. They had old computers for cars and old stereos and just like I said, it's like junkyard.
So it's a brewery / junkyard.
Yeah, pretty much, man. The beer was pretty good, but they took care of us as far as our contract goes. You know what I mean? And we another show on the books, and again, I was able to make up the money I didn't get from the last show because of the Delta Airlines fiasco.
Right. How many people, and I'm not saying this to be negative, guy, I'm really not, but how many people come to an outdoor, uncovered, 110-degree show?
14, Chris.
I mean, is it like a normal crowd, or is it a lot less?
No, this was not
fucking hot.
This was definitely like playing somebody's little private party, which we're not above that, and I'll tell you, nor is any artist on the planet.
Sure.
Every artist on the planet goes and plays some weird, king of some land's backyard party. The only difference is they get paid like $1 million to show up and play it. And that's how it is. When you do like private appearances, you typically get more because it's not your usual setup, and it's going to be a more private. You're just playing for a wealthy person and their friends, And this was a similar kind of scenario, but us not having had that sound check and walking out and having to like figure it out again in front of these people, and they're like, "Hey, Erik, what's up? You're looking good, Erik." And you're like, "Ugh."
You're like, "Hey, thanks."
Thanks. Well, I stand here for another 15 minutes trying to figure out how to get my monitor on, Yeah, it was one of those. Some of the gigs I do are totally fun and glamorous. On Tuesday, we're playing York, PA with Vince Neil and Quiet Riot.
Well, that's fun.
That's going to be a rockin' show. You got Vince Neil, you got the Motley, you got the Rat, you got Quiet Riot opening the show. That's going to be a badass time, and it's going to be a festival stage. So that'll be more glamorous. This thing was interesting and unforgettable, which, that's part of life. You have to have unforgettable experiences. We'll always laugh about this. And this is now, immortalized on the Chris Akin Presents, the short bus.
What is the name of the venue? I'm looking to see if there's any YouTube of it. What is the
Oh,
name of the
please,
venue?
no, Chris. Let's not get that.
Come on, what's the name of the
on.
venue?
No, we got Bow Wow Wow stuff to get into. Come on, man. We got
don't wanna see
your
one
buddy,
video?
your buddy Dinsy's coming on today.
Yeah, but you don't want to see not even one video?
No, bro. I do not.
Was
I
it
do
that
not.
bad?
I don't know what actually, Christy was saying it ended up being awesome. Like she had a little video. She goes, "It sounds just like the record."
Well, there you go. See?
I was like, I don't know how that's possible. I can't even hear a kick drum, but okay.
I'm going to be honest. There's not any video.
Right.
I don't see
my money
any.
was my money was well spent paying off those YouTube people.
Yeah. I see a lot of 7/8 the week before, but I
Right.
don't see anything. I'm looking. Believe me, I'm looking to fuck you over and play it anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's none to play. Oh well. I just want to see how if you guys are dying or not. But
No, I mean we did the show. The stage was so small. It was like I mean, aside from, going to the front to sing and
Right.
stepping back when I'm not singing, which is my typical choreography.
sure.
That was it. There was no going side to side. I had nowhere to go. So it wasn't a lot of work I had to do.
Front to back, and that's it. 2 steps
Yeah,
forward, 1
that
step
was it.
back. That's about it.
2 steps when those sparkles started going.
Now tell me about that, dude. I as a non-musician, I would never want to play any shows ever again with pyro after seeing the Great White Thing.
Right.
And you said this was the exact same type of shit, right?
If this had been indoors, there'd be 100 dead people at this.
Stop.
No, obviously it was outside and there was no risk of a major forest fire, as you can see. We're in the
Right.
desert.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's more risk of the sun starting a fire probably than those sparklers.
Well, some point in the afternoon when they had an electrician out to try to figure out how they could get this other electrical box going. Because of course, at first they had about 100 things plugged into one
Right.
electric box, which isn't good, folks. It was kind of like Clark Griswold's Christmas vacation or something going on at this place. Then they had some tent where they were running like air conditioning into
Right.
it, and I guess that exploded.
Oh
And
wow.
so then they go, well, first we got to fix the air conditioning for the tent, and then we're gonna go and we'll get back on the electrical situation. It's like, okay, we're leaving, and we'll be back later. But overall, everything was okay. The band was getting along fine.
That's cool.
Yeah, contractual little things were met, and
Sure.
we went home with our fat wallets and another
Fat
show.
wallets, played a
the
show.
books.
Yeah, exactly. Played a show, fat wallets. How could that be bad?
That's right.
That's cool.